So today was the big game at 5:30 p.m., and everything was on the line. I was on that court an hour earlier practicing my jump shot, my layup, my spin move. Now today's opponent was a little bit bigger than me, so protecting that ball was going to be absolutely key. Now, I see my dad driving up the street, and because today is the big game, he naturally parks out on the curb. He runs in the house, throws on his sneakers. I get down, I throw 5 pumps into my Reeboks, and within 5 minutes, it's game on. Now, this court wasn't exactly regulation size, but when cars weren't parked in it, it definitely felt like Lakers Arena. Now, it's interesting to watch children interact with their activities and environment at hand. It's as if they didn't get the memo that jumping off a bed may result in a bad ending, or that climbing a refrigerator may not be the best idea. No children were harmed in the production of these photos. But from the day we're born, our minds are controlled by this vivid and innovative imagination that has us living this life without limits. A life where we could easily fight off the most evil of dragons, a life where we could easily be whisked away by a handsome prince. And those dreams and aspirations may one day turn into becoming the next Miley Cyrus. As a father of 4 daughters, I hope without the foam finger. But for me, it was all about being the next Magic Johnson in the NBA. Now, during my childhood, I learned a couple things. 1, that I had passion. And 2, that I wasn't afraid to ignite that passion with action. Now, despite being extremely small for my age, there was nothing that anyone could tell me that would lead me to believe anything different that I wouldn't one day play in the NBA. After all, I knew it was possible, I knew no one could stop my jump shot, and I knew that the NBA was in my future. Now, as Greg mentioned, I'm the father of 4 daughters, and I know far too well what it's like to have kids that claim to know it all. But let's all consider for a moment that kids really do know it all, that igniting passion towards action is the key to a fulfilling life. So the question for all of you is, what would your life look like if you took life on with the same limitless possibilities and imagination that you had as a child? Some of us are right where we want to be, living life completely satisfied, complete fulfillment. But surveys across the nation are showing that as much as 70% of society is not engaged with their life, not living life with passion, not living life with purpose. And it's no wonder that on Mondays alone, the heart attack in this country increases by 20%. As people wake up doing things that they hate as just a means to provide for themselves and or their families. And if they one day wake up and have the epiphany that they want something different, they have no path, no process, no formula to find realignment with that limitless possibility life that they were born with. Now, I want to go back to that championship game, and I want to actually fast forward 10 years. Fast forwarding 10 years from that championship game, I had heard all of the following. Stop dreaming. You're too short. You're too slow. It won't happen. Get a real job. And now that ball that I often struggled with my mom and dad to let me sleep with in my bed at night looks like this. And so the question for everyone here and watching this talk is, what dreams have you put on that shelf and let die? Now, about 5 years ago, I heard a quote from a man by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe, and I want to share it with everyone today. And it goes like this. Where is the wealthiest spot on planet Earth? Where on this planet lies the greatest wealth? Could it be perhaps the gold mines of South America or the diamond mines of South Africa? Maybe it's the silver mines of Peru or the oil fields of Iraq and Kuwait. I've got it. Maybe it's the oceans of the Caribbean. It might actually surprise you, but the greatest wealth on this planet lies just a few blocks from your home. A few of us maybe even passed it on the way to this event. The greatest wealth on planet Earth lies in the cemetery, believe it or not. Because buried in the cemetery are books that were never written, paintings that no one's ever seen, inventions that were never designed, businesses that never launched, ideas that never went beyond the drawing board of the mind, and purposes that were never fulfilled. Our graveyards are filled with potential that remained potential. What a tragedy. So as you sit here at this talk today, reflecting on your life, 5 years from today, 10 years from today, even 20 years from today, are you willing to settle living a life not found in the imagination and passion that you were all born with? Because if you're not, an adventure awaits you. Now, from the day we're born till the day we die, we all have this unique set of events that we call life. And I really like to sum it up and call it your adventure. Now, as a child, your adventure is one road, one way, there are no turns, there are no exits, a straight and narrow path. But at some point, our friends tell us that will never work. Our teachers tell us that doesn't follow the formula on page 523. Our parents are trying to protect us, and then we begin to doubt ourselves. And now we're presented with options, where we can either stay on the adventure that is our own and true to us, or an adventure that we can no longer call our own, as it is just a hodgepodge of outside influences and opinions. Now, if you wish to find the path to your adventure again, a battle awaits you. This battle will have you experience fear, pain, loneliness, the desire to quit, discouragement. But no one else can go to battle for you. You must fight this battle if you truly wish to find realignment with your adventure. Now, at about the time that I heard the quote by Dr. Miles Monroe, it inspired me to go on an adventure to find realignment with where I was as a child. And in doing so, I kept my eyes on people that in my book had achieved this so-called success and sought the answer to the question, how did they get to where they are today? After all, they figured out the way, they paved the way, they have a formula, a method. It was just a matter of me following in their footsteps, and I too could have success. But what I found was, as I became the victim of sure failure, as I mimicked their messages, their every move, their businesses. And so what I found was, after going through this journey, is that seeking the answer to the question, how did they get to where they are today, as I looked at these people that achieved success, had robbed my future. And I also found that it is robbing futures across the globe, as we all try to mimic other people who achieve success. But know this, your adventure is proprietary to you. It cannot be copied, it cannot be recreated, it cannot be mimicked. But during my journey, I was able to find a formula. This formula actually encompasses three things: passion, action, and fight. The good news today is that everyone here, anyone watching this, was born with these three things. The problem is that society, the surveys are showing that 70% of society not engaged with their life, not living life with limitless possibilities they were born with, are not activating all three. They're activating only two at a time. So we have three scenarios here I'd like to run through. In one case, you might bring passion, you might bring fight to the table, but you fail to bring action, so things never get off the ground. Or you may bring action and you may bring fight, but you don't bring passion, so you end up doing something that you hate. And lastly, you may bring passion and you may bring action, but you don't bring that fight, and so you quit. But when you can bring your passion, your action, and your fight all in one effort, in one cohesive effort, that is where you can find realignment with your adventure. The adventure that we were all born with of limitless possibilities as a child. Now, when invited to do this talk, I wanted to decline. I didn't want to do it. Between spending time with my 4 daughters, time with my wife, launching a new website for our marketing agency, creating content, coaching my daughter's soccer team, doing a little bit of tap and jazz dance with one of my other daughters, believe it or not. I'm still in the process of looking for shoes to buy. I may take that plunge. And training. It was easy to have an excuse to say no. I was too busy. My plate was too full. And while this talk was intended for all of you to walk away feeling inspired to ignite action and finding realignment with your adventure so that you can live a life of limitless possibilities and complete satisfaction, This talk was just as much for me as the last 9 minutes, and the reason why I went to battle to make it happen was because it was a necessary part of my adventure. Thanks for sharing it with me.
Yeah.